setup of the story, where some people, depending on who you want, some people want the prologue of them chasing each other through the Arctic. If you do want that stuff, Guillermo del Toro kind of gives you that stuff a little bit, and because
this is a much more like closed in story. It feels epic on the scale that like he's actually raising the dead again, and like that in itself feels very just larger than life, of course, but like he does just kind of scale it down to like, here's my experiment, here's the monster, here's the outcome of that, and we're going to deal with it within this like small town, this kind of small community, rather than the Arctic epic journey of I'm going to follow you for the rest of your life and kill everything that you love and all that.
Yeah, know? I mean, like that stuff's so what's so funny is I just reread the book last year because I had read it in high school, and I had forgotten about a lot of that stuff because the movies had been made more of an impression as I had been sort of growing up. And
I think in general for people, definitely, I don't like, even me when we watched the new one and we came out and you were telling me the differences with the book, I was just like, oh, like I had no idea that it went to this kind of scale in the novel. So
yeah, you like the fact that they get locked in this like eternal battle of trying to make each other's lives miserable and shit like that. And I guess it's because some people also forget that like all of Bride, like all the stuff with the blind man and the stuff of Frankenstein, like telling the doctor that he needs to make him a female companion or else he'll fucking murder his whole family. Like all that stuff is actually in the fucking book. Right. So they drop that here. They drop the stuff to do with the sort of untimely death of his mother, and they do show you the sort of obsession with mortality and disease and decay and death, which he views as sort of this unnatural and corrupt thing that he can't really accept or sort of cope with. And they skip straight to him basically his ambition to pursue the physical secrets of the world, and wanting to break nature, wanting to break science, and the sort of arrogance of that position, the laws that he's breaking essentially. And so how he renders that is by skipping just straight to the gothic horror atmosphere of he's doing something perverse. The grave digging act itself is something that is horrific, and that's why it's the first thing he wants you to see it, even if it's also beautiful, foggy, like shadowy sort of cemetery set, and all the bits of them like going along the mountainside and like going up to like the hanged body and like trying to grab pieces of it and stuff. It's quite nasty imagery for 1931 right off the start.
Yeah, and it has this like just unbelievably tragic, sad atmosphere to it too, like with the fact that they're at a funeral and they're waiting for the family to leave before they go and just dig up the body almost immediately. Yeah, and they're not doing any real you have your classic kind of horror orchestral stuff going into it with the credits and everything. But then once you set into the cemetery, all you hear is just like the church chime, the bell tower, and that's it. And so listening to them like dig into the dirt and then just the bell tower kind of like, I don't know, it just feels like there's this overlooming presence of they're doing something wrong and almost like God is watching you do it in a way. And I love too that everything looks so just like desolate and dead. Like the trees are all just completely leafless, and it's got that almost classic spooky jaggedness to the branches. And I also we didn't really talk about it, but there's like, I don't know if it's a pre-code thing or if it was just like an old school thing because they knew what they had on their hands. But my version has this the man come out. He's Edward Van Sloan comes out, and he like
it's the actor who eventually plays his like professor teacher character, his like former teacher character. But yeah, he steps up with like
he's like, it's gonna be spooky. To be honest, it's funny. It's like the Treehouse of Horror in The Simpsons when Marge comes out and she's like, hey, there must be a reference to that. But it's
Edward Van Sloan comes up with the original trigger warning and is like, hey, there's gonna be some spooky fucking shit in this movie.
It's gonna be scary, just to let you know. I just love that.
It may shock you, it may horrify you.
Yeah, I don't know if that was the first time that it's happened, but it seemed like it must be like one of them because it is 1931 and like they just started doing the talkies. So unless there's like a viewer discretion advised in one of the 1920s horrors that's like you're about to get spooked, boy. But I don't know. But I love just anything like that. It feels very like I don't know. There's something about being in a time where they felt like that was necessary, and that is almost part of the scare. Because nowadays, someone would come out and say that, and you'd just be like, "Get off the stage, idiot!" Like people would just like yell, just start making fun of it. And at this time, it almost feels like that's packed in there for part of the horror aspect of it. I love that.
Yeah, no, it's considering that takes up that plus the opening credits takes up a couple minutes of the runtime. You're like, oh, this is like a 65-minute movie.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, definitely. And I can't even believe it with the pre-code stuff, because this is pre-code. They a bunch of stuff got like cut out, or at least they wanted to originally. And I think before they, kind of tried to get as much as they could out of it before some of it was cut, the studio was asking them to do like half of the movie. So this 65-minute movie was going to be like 35 minutes long with all of the best parts cut out at a certain point, which would have just been a tragedy, honest to God.
Yeah, and I'm going to guess it's just because it's such morbid subject matter. Yeah. Like the idea of like a guy going up and digging up these body parts and assembling them and turning them into this like zombified creature, and like you can see why that would kind of freak them out a little bit. And even though we wouldn't get the versions that are quite as graphic until later, because this is like
86 or something, right? 1986 or something, where people could actually go to like have more access, rather than just maybe go to a theater when they put Frankenstein on every once in a while, to actually have access to this film on a normal basis where the cuts aren't there.